Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My computer is doing funny things to me, but I think we're okay for the moment. So I will call the General Purposes Committee meeting to order. May I have a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, opposed, carried. So the first item is the neighborhood grants. We have a delegation apparently. Haywood, Jay, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. If you could turn on your video screen.
Should be on.
Okay, it's on. Yes, sir. So if you could identify yourself, and you've got 5 minutes.
My name's Haywood Jacomi, and I saw that the grant is being spent in the way that it's currently being spent. And I kind of oppose a few parts of it because I was thinking to spend such a large sum of money on a neighborhood event like this is clearly good for the community. I do like that it will not be spent on crazy things like a comedy show called Bonzi Wash Comedy on Thursdays. I don't see why that would be a relevant way to spend the money. I think the neighborhoods as they are right now should be receiving upwards of this amount of funding. I do have heard people trying to get money to be spent on the Body Wash comedy show this Thursday on 7:30 and 9:30, but I don't see why they would be saying this. I think the way that it is structured as of right now, at the way things are going, I think this is a good step in the right direction because the Body Wash comedy show, I mean, you could do that, but I don't see who these people who are pushing for it are. I just think that what we need to do is we need to focus and keep things right on track because if it just keeps going crazy, then who knows what's really going to happen, really. So thank you very much.
All right, thanks very much. I'll go to staff and ask, is there anything more to add to your report?
Nothing further to add. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, we've got a question from Councillor, let's see now, Councillor Wolf.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a question to the delegate, and then after I have a question to staff. The question to the delegate is simple. I don't know what Bonzi Wash comedy show is. Could you just spell it, and I can look it up, or could you
Well, just ask if it's on the list, because I understood him to say it is not.
I know, but if he's talking about something that's happening in our community that was applying for funds or something related to this item, could you just spell it, Haywood? What's the spelling?
Just ask him, is this on the list somewhere, what you mentioned?
It's BODZY and then WASH.
Is it on the list somewhere?
I don't believe it to be on the
Okay.
list.
All right, so we're having no
Thank
more
you.
questions on that.
Okay, thank you. My question to staff, if I may, two parts. The first part of the question is about the adjudication process. Or it's one of those tongue twister words for me. The process, I know that it factored into creating an average score for each of the items. And looking at the list of items, there were, I think, 3 that were under 50% of that for that score. So my first question about it is, were the 5 key areas that are listed on page 13 near the top, the second paragraph in that paragraph in that section, it mentions 5 key areas. Were they equally weighted? And then were the panel members equally weighted as well? And how many panel members were included, if that's a clear number? That's my first question. Thanks.
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Wolf. The first thing the adjudicators did was determine what funding requests were eligible. And then of the eligible funding requests, it was weighted 40% alignment with objectives, 10% encouraging intercultural connections, which overlaps somewhat with alignment with objectives, 20% capacity, knowing the organization had the capacity to deliver the event, budget 20%, and sustainability 10%. We did find most of the applicants scored the same across the board in terms of sustainability in agreeing to adhere to our sustainable event toolkit, which we provide to them. And then in terms of your second question, the adjudication committee was comprised of an internal committee representing arts, culture, and heritage, recreation and sport, parks programs, and community social development.
Thank you, through the chair to staff. A follow up on that part then, were each of those components of the city like equal weight contribution to the scoring?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, yes, they were.
Oh, okay, thanks. Then my last question is about just a few of the specific items, and it's probably really quick to explain. On our page 21, GP 21, the recommended one, number 59, is GOA Vancouver. So first, could you just identify the GOA? And then secondly, is there more of a Vancouver connection to this one, or is it just in the name? Because I know other neighborhood grant programs do accept out of city residents to apply for their grants, but just a question for this one.
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, that is a group with a Richmond-based program in mind. It's a broader community organization, but the event will occur in Richmond for Richmond residents. And if I could ask, actually, Lisa Fedoruk is online, just to remind me what the GOA organization is.
Thanks, Marie. And through the chair to Councillor Wolf, it's the Goan Overseas Association.
Okay, thank you. My final question, through the chair to through your worship to staff, is on page GP 20. It's number 52. The project is called Key West is a Family. I'm not sure, is a family, is that added to identify that Key West is a family, or is that actually the name of the project? Because it's not capital letter F. And then it's a neighbors organization. So I assume this is a single family that's hosting this event, and with the process of funding are $812.
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, it's a neighbor program. Individual applicants or individual households were not considered eligible. So we just represented the names as they were submitted. We didn't copy edit them.
Okay, just to clarify then, through your worship, so that project that was given the title Key West is a Family.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Day.
Thank you very much. Well, I think you have done an absolutely fabulous job of critiquing these. And as I looked through the list, there were 61 approved and 33 not approved. And of the 33, it was pretty obvious that many of them were not going to bring multiculturals together. They were more segregated. So I think that working with those applicants who did not get approved and letting them know why they didn't meet the criteria would be a good thing to do, just so they know how they could better include other people in the community instead of just their small group. So good work on that. I was really pleased, number 9, which is on page 17, our Savior Community Pollinator Garden. I was there for the dedication of that garden about a year ago, and the work that those folks have put in is just phenomenal. And they've got signs out in the street welcoming everybody to come in and see it. So I'm really, really pleased about that one. And I was also really pleased that St. Joseph's a Workers Summer Fair. That's a really great event. I've been to it, and I'm really, really pleased that that one was approved as well. So thank you very much for all your hard work. I'm sure it was very difficult.
Councillor McNulty.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I thought a great report. I want to thank staff for it. When I say this is money well spent, in my opinion, the requests are extremely well founded by various groups, and when you take the theme of cultural harmony, I believe what you've done and come back, I'll use the term, is spot on. You've achieved the goals, and You know, Your Worship, this leads to, in my opinion, for a very healthy community. We've got tremendous organizations, we've got neighbors, we've got tremendous diversity, and I use that word in broad spectrum where people have applied, everybody from the local neighborhood to an artist school group, etc. So if we want to talk about building community, I believe this does it. And you know, and don't take this the wrong way, please. We're only putting out $75,000. You know, if we can achieve what I see on these pages here for $75,000, they're doing a heck of a good job. And kudos to staff, but also kudos to the people that are applying. They range from $391 to over $1,700 for what they're doing, and they know what their needs are. So I think you've summarized it well. I think it's a step. It's grown an awful lot since we started the grant program. So I'm just going to say to staff, a job well done. I'm glad that you were able to adjudicate it, and I hope next year that we're faced with double the number of applicants that could be successful. So, Your Worship, I'm very pleased to support this. Thank you.
Okay, I'm having problems with my machinery. Just, if you could bear with me just a minute. Okay. Okay. Just hang on a sec. Okay, I've just got to get out of this other one. Where am I? Just say, start video.
So you're at the end of the last page because we have raised hands, so we can't bring you forward. So you're right there.
Okay, but I'm there.
Yes.
Okay, do it when you can. Okay, sorry to ask you to hold up for a sec. I've got Councillor Steves, Councillor Hobbs, Councillor Al. Harold? What? Yeah, you're muted, Harold.
Can't hear you, Harold.
I unmuted myself and it got muted again. Okay, I said great job done on the ones on the list that are approved, and I agree with the ones that aren't approved as well, except for one. And I don't want to see it approved, but I would like to know more about it and see if we can get in touch with this person. And that's number 65 C. I think it's Sea Shanty. It's S-H-E, but I suspect it's C-S-E-A. Sea Shanty Socials. If we're talking about sea shanties, this is something we should be having at the Maritime Festival. And if there's a group of people that like singing sea shanties, then we should be doing it. Every year when we go to Port Townsend, they have one evening of sea shanties, and I've gone to it every year for the last 4 or 5 years, and because I like sea shanties. And if somebody was prepared to organize it, that should be part of our Maritime Festival. So perhaps for staff, if you could look in to see who it is, if they've got a group of people that want to sing sea shanties and they want to organize something, let's see if we can set aside one evening, say in the Chinese bunkhouse. Generally about at Port Townsend, about 50 people attend every year, probably the same people every year, but it's one of the main events they have down there. So I just wanted to pass that on.
Okay, so if staff could take that under advisement for the Maritime Festival. Councillor Hobbs.
Thank you, and through the chair. Well, I just want to, first of all, thank staff for the report because I thought it was quite impressive. I thought the adjudication process and the panel must have done a lot of work because the objectives and eligibility seem substantial to me. So with that number, I think a record number of applicants, that would have meant a lot of work. So one question I have, though, is that was consideration or some analysis done just in terms of kind of the geographic disbursement of these? Some of them, it's obvious who they are and where they're from, but other ones not so much, at least to me. So when you look or think of the city in terms of its geography, Was there some consideration, or will there be some analysis done, or is it fairly well represented across the various neighborhoods of Richmond?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, we do feel we got good representation from across the city. We promoted it widely through media releases, social media, but also through our community associations, trying to target individual neighborhoods. And certainly part of the debrief, we'll do a more thorough analysis of where we got applications from and where there might be some gaps that we want to target in the future.
Well, that sounds good. Thank you.
Councillor Al.
Yes, first off, thank you for the recommendations. I think they're great. I have a question about those who did not get the funding. Now, I noticed that some of them, they make the mistake of, being a single person as applicant or individuals from the same household. So I want to know, how soon do we give them the feedback that, they won't be considered? Did we help them to get the application corrected? I know that staff will give them the recommendations after the fact that they were being rejected. But, did we ever consider that maybe we can give them the advice once we receive their application and seeing that, okay, the project might be good, only that because the application is not being done right. Because if I look at 69, 73, I think those are good things to have. If it's only because the individuals are from the same family and then we just turn them down at the very end. So did we ever consider giving them the advice early enough so that they can, revise their application?
Yes, through your worship to Councillor Au, we did get inquiries around the application process. So there was contact information. We did get inquiries around eligibility throughout the application period, and we were able to help applicants with their application process. The timeline for applications this year was quite tight, given when the program was launched and trying to get it going when it appeared that COVID restrictions would facilitate this kind of programming. And certainly all the applicants will receive individualized feedback on their applications for future years.
But I'm also thinking that, if only because one individual apply or, the individuals from the same family apply, is it quite easy to correct, right? They can just find a neighbor the next day and resubmit before the deadline. So I think perhaps, in the future, I think nothing can be done right now, but in the future, for those kind of applications, perhaps, it's an easy thing for them to revise the application before the deadline so that they can be considered instead of, being told at the very end, sorry, you did right next year.
All right. Yeah. Okay, may I have a motion accordingly?
So moved.
As moved and seconded. Further discussion on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. We also have the next item, which is the endorsement of the UBCM resolution for the library funding. Susan Walters is here. Anything to add to your report?
Nothing to add to my report, but
Okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Someone want to move it?
Move the recommendation.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you. And someone move adjournment.
So moved.
So, okay, we are now adjourned.